Shake your pom-poms. Shake, shake, shake. Kimberly F. Brown, she'll roll up on your hometown. She supports the good, but if you're doing wrong, you better watch yourself. If you're cruel and full of spite, she'll shut you down. One wrong step and it's to the ground. She don't play nice with clowns. Brown, 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 on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn John Brown, Brown. She helps the folks in every way. Her light shines bright like midday. She hates the lies, she seeks the truth. She'll call you out and show the proof. She'll clean the streets, she'll get them right. She works all day, she works all night. She loves or hates based on your deeds. Don't cross her path, don't plant your weeds. Brown, 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 on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn down Brown, Brown. Brown, brown, on Cleveland, she'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn brown, brown. Shake your pom-poms. Shake, shake, shake your pom-poms.
I like that intro. Okay, I
Yeah,
like it.
Brown on Cleveland. That was a surprise to me one day. So someone had a song for me, and of course, I wanted to make sure that I had commercial rights to play it, and
Yeah.
they actually gave it to me as a gift. So yeah, Brown,
Oh,
Brown,
that's nice.
Brown, that damn Brown on Cleveland. Shake your pom poms, shake your pom poms, shake your pom poms. Darn it, shake your pom poms. Friday evening, 10:04. I feel good. You look good. And of course, we're going to have a great time tonight. Miss Tara Mosley Weems. Welcome to Brown on Cleveland inside the Little Hut podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But before you and I have this most important discussion, I got to say hello to my sponsors. Now, Tara, I know you live in Akron, but if you're looking for t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, mugs, team uniforms, whatever the case may be, come on down here to Cleveland, to Maple Heights, and see my girl, Angie Marie. She can be reached at 216-395-7335. Then, if you and your hubby are down here, right, and you guys are a little hungry, and if you're looking for the best soul food on the planet, you got to stop by Flavor Southern Cuisine, which is located in Garfield Heights at 12540 Rockside Road. You got to visit my girl, Rhonda Stubbs. I kid you not, man. She'll have you licking your toes. Probably not, but no, that's just a rhyme. Also, too, if you have some girlfriends down here who own a daycare, Rhonda caters breakfast, lunch, and she gives them a healthy snack. And of course, you can always reach out to Rhonda because she does all that at 216-510-0919. Kimberly F. Brown, Brown, that darn Brown on Cleveland. Friday evening, Tara. It's Friday evening. And some people got paid and some people didn't. And really, that's none of anybody's business. Whew. All right. Listen, it's always great to see you, my friend.
You as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes you come down to the city of Cleveland and mind our business. But I haven't seen you down here in a minute because normally if you come down here, it has something to do with that darn former Senator Nina Turner. And I haven't seen Turner in quite a while, so I'm quite sure she's probably just touring the country doing what she does best.
Yeah, yeah. Touring the country, and we're Gigi's. Well, she's Glamour, she's Yaya, I'm Gigi. So
Okay.
these grandkids be getting us. They get us.
All right, so listen, tonight I want to talk to you tonight about term limits. A couple of days ago, you sent me an editorial, and for those who don't know, I'm also a news reporter, and I write for Newsbreak, and I do some things with National Fox News. But what was intriguing was that a lot of people will whisper about term limits. And one thing I like about you, and I've always liked about you, is that if you're going to be bold, you're going to speak out. If you're going to be brazen, you're going to be unbought and unbossed. And whatever Tara wants to happen, you don't mind shaking your pom-poms for whatever is right. So I want to welcome you again to the Little Hut podcast, where a lot of people run from this podcast because they just don't like to sit with myself, self, or Little Kimmie. And for those who don't know you, you used to be a councilwoman for the city of Akron. You ran
Correct.
for mayor for the city of Akron, and that race was a horse race. Nobody knew how that race was going to turn out. That was one of the best run campaigns um, in the state of Ohio because it was definitely a horse race and it was great. So I want to congratulate you just for throwing your hat in the race. And then, too, a lot of people don't know that you ran for lieutenant governor. And,
I did. Yeah, 2018.
right. And Dennis Kucinich was his
Yeah.
running mate. So for people who don't know, before we dive into this most important conversation, tell us more about Tara Mosley Weems.
So I mean, you said law. So in my past roles, I originally came from the courthouse as a bailiff. Ran for city council. Ran my first time, won my first time. Sat on the council for 10 years, and I was tapped to run for lieutenant governor with Dennis Kucinich. And during that time, before that time, I was actually a delegate for President Obama. I was a delegate for President Obama on his second term, his reelection. And then I was a delegate and a surrogate for Senator Bernie Sanders. So, I've been out here trying to fight a good fight for a really long time and just trying to do the people's work. It's just who I've always been.
Very good. And also, too, you're a very good friend of my neighbor, Senator Nina Turner, right? All right.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
That's the bestie. So
There you
yeah,
go.
we cut from the same cloth. I spent a lot of time defending her here lately. I just want to just give her a shout out on, she was the one who started the boycott of Target movement.
Okay.
And so somewhere within, I mean, she gets her accolades here and there, but I am very vocal about, let's not forget where it started. That daughter of Cleveland is the one who picked up the phone and said, hey, y'all, this is what we need to do. And so as I see other people getting a lot of flowers, they need to understand where it originated from. That was Senator Turner was the one who started beating that drum early on. And now look at them, making them have to do the right thing. And if not, I got stores closing right now because of it.
All right.
Do the right thing, or, you find folk like us that, will sound the alarm.
Yes, so I'm going to shake my pom-poms for Senator Turner right now. Just shake my pom-poms, damn it, shaking my pom-poms. But tonight, we need to talk about this thing called term limits. Will implementing term limits truly stop corruption, eliminate seat fillers, and curb unethical behaviors? Or could it be seen as a misuse of democracy? You recently wrote an editorial that I printed in Newsbreak. My question to you is, why you? Why are you talking about term limits? What is the overall purpose of this editorial, Brown on Cleveland?
So let me give you a little history where this came from with me. So in 2013, when I went to the council, one of the first things that I went to some of my then colleagues about was term limits. That was in 2013. We're in 2025. And I said, hey, I think we need to bring in term limits. I don't think anyone should sit in these seats for as long as many of them had already sat there. And they wanted to know the argument. And plain and simple, I said, the President of the United States has term limits. The governor has term limits. All of those state office holders have term limits. I said, when one of the things that I noticed that happened here in Akron is we all used to call our then mayor at that time, we used to call him King Don. He was there for 28 years when I went to council, and he was a great mayor. But 28 years after, not to say him or any other would, but a lot of them have, they get jaded by that power. And then, if you go and do actually a census on how many stakeholders and office holders who sit in these seats for X long period of time end up finding themselves in some kind of trouble. And a lot of it has to do with because they're sitting there so long, they make these deals with certain corporations or people, and then they picking up phone calls and moving stuff for people. And I think that happens because they sit there too long, and a lot of them do go into these seats with the idea that they want to do the right thing and they want to help people. But somewhere along the line, the longer they stay there, something changes. Not to say all of them, but a lot of them, something changes within them. So for me, I just always felt like when you sit in these seats, why wouldn't you groom somebody? Why would you want to stay in a seat 20, 30 years? Because if you've not done the things you need to do to let me think of the right word, because I don't want to offend anybody. We just talked about that before we got on air. It's just making sure that you groom people that are come along and finish the work that you started. That's the main objective here. You should never want to sit somewhere so long, but you've not been effective. If you've not been effective, it's time to move out the way to bring someone in who can be effective. So right now, if I use Akron City Council as an example, when I first went to council, we were on 2-year terms. They did a ballot initiative and said that it would save taxpayer money if they moved to 4-year terms instead of staggered elections, where we wouldn't run with the mayor. Now all of a sudden we were running with the mayor, and that never was the case. We would have off year staggered elections, which I think is very important because you don't want to upend government. So they changed that, which we all call that the Mike Williams rule. That's a whole nother story offline we'll talk about. So we believed it was a Mike Williams rule because he was an at-large council person who ran for mayor and was able to go back to his seat. So now we all run on 4 years. So the first time I was on a 2-year term, run for re-election. Now we're on a 4-year term. And so that's where you get, I was on a 2-year term and then 2 4-year terms. That's where the 10 years come from, because it sort of kind of seems a little off to people when they said, well, how were you there for 10? Well, it was first 2, then it was 4, and then it was 4 because they changed it. There is no reason for anyone to serve over, to me, 3 terms is enough. That's 12
Well,
years.
historically speaking, Woodrow Wilson talked about that. And he stated that no one should serve over a 2-term period due to the fact that anything more than that, it brings about corruption. It brings about misbehaving. It brings about,
Yeah.
people not serving the people, but now they become self-serving. So
Yeah.
if he was smart enough to recognize that years and years ago, you would think that now in this day and age that people would actually understand what he was talking about. A lot of people are saying this. There are 2 arguments to this phase. Some
Mhm.
people are saying that if you have term limits, then it would disrupt the process of some initiatives. It would put a halt to it. And then other people are saying, like the example that you're giving now, if you stay in the seat too long, there's a great possibility and probability that you may get caught up in something that you probably would have never got caught up in. Like here in the city
Yeah.
of Cleveland, we had a council person who served, I think, 44 years. And I'll just say it, Ken Johnson. It doesn't matter because he's in prison now. And some people would say, had he got out sooner, he would be at home or, somewhere enjoying his retirement rather than wearing an orange jumpsuit. Now, let me say this.
Yeah.
Ken Johnson was not a bad council person to the people.
Right.
It was these things that happened behind closed doors that it appears got him caught up. But
Yeah.
a lot of people are looking at this, trying to figure out how do we get everybody on a term limit. For example, Congress.
Oh, for
Congress.
sure. Oh,
We
yeah.
have people in Congress who are 80, 90, damn near 100 years old.
Yeah. We've got Representative Pascal, I believe, is 86 or 87. Auntie Maxine, she's 85. Maybe she might be older than that now. I mean, and they run on 2-year terms. And the one thing about Congress is like you're always running. Always running.
Every
It's like you're
other
running,
year.
raising money every other year. It's just like being a state rep, but you're dealing with things on a federal level. Out of all the things that I focused on, that one right there should be the first and foremost that needs to have term limits. Is Congress absolutely should have. You shouldn't die in a seat because of age, because you've aged out. You're 80, almost 90 years old. Look, Mitch McConnell, he's like falling out. Dianne Feinstein, she
Nancy Pelosi.
I mean, we can go, yeah, Nancy Pelosi, but at least she's leaving now. She's like, okay, I'm done, I'm out. But a lot of them won't do that because they get intoxicated by that power. They're intoxicated by it. And you should never want something so bad that you forget who you are and why you are there to serve. And I think a lot of them, they get there and that's what happens. Not to say that a lot of them are going to do criminal-minded things and end up in prison, but at some point, you have to make a way for someone else to come there. I'll tell you, one of the things I did when I first went to council, I had a couple young ladies who said that they wanted to eventually be council members. I brought them along with me. And once they started seeing the budget process and seeing how actually local government worked, they wanted no parts of it. They wanted no parts of it anymore. But to me, it was like, why not groom someone? Why wouldn't you want to groom someone? And we're talking about consecutive terms. We're not talking about you win, you lose, you come back. We're talking about 3 to 4 consecutive terms. Right now, there's a couple people who sit on some of these councils, whether it's in Cleveland, whether it's in Warrensville Heights, whether it's in Akron, that are in their 70s. Say they serve 4 terms. That's 16 years. You're going to tell me you're going to be, 88, 89, sitting in that seat? That makes no sense to me. To me, right now, we are primed for these bodies to say, yeah, this is something that we should be doing, installing term limits. We've got some smaller municipalities here, as I wrote about, here that have term limits. Stowe, they just passed a term limit. No, Stowe didn't pass it. They had it. Hudson just passed it on this last ballot. They have term limits. Steubenville has term limits. Beaver Creek has term limits. These are little tiny municipalities that are saying, you know what, we need to put some term limits here. Akron is the 5th biggest municipality in the state of Ohio. And at this point, we need to lead the charge, and maybe Cleveland will follow. Cleveland definitely need term limits, but you and I both know that. They definitely need term limits. But either they want to do it, or it just becomes a ballot initiative and let the people decide. And the people are absolutely going to decide on term limits at this point because they're fed up.
But let me ask though, with term limits, is that the ultimate solution? I mean, do we really need it, or do they threaten the essence of democratic choice?
I don't think it threatens the essence of democratic choice. What I do believe threatens that is the fact that you have people who are independents who can't vote for candidates in primaries. That right there is an issue. An independent.
I'm one.
I know, and I have quite a few friends who are independents who I'm trying to explain the process to them, and that was another thing that I brought up to council. And I went to the League of Women Voters about it, and I had council members who supported what I was saying. I said an independent voter should still be allowed to vote for candidates. They should not have to declare a party because to vote for someone. You go in there, only thing you get to vote on are issues in a primary, and to me that's undemocratic, because if I don't choose a party, you're telling me I can't vote for someone who I think could be a good candidate for my community because I won't declare a party. That to me, absolutely something that needs to be changed and worked on. But starting with the term limits, I think it has to happen and should happen because, you're not going to upend government, but you don't want to have a government where you have, you see on the news all the time, they talk about corruption, and you have all of these different elected officials being carted off to jail because they've been there too long. If it takes you 25 to 30 years to do the work because you're a ward representative, or even if you're the mayor, that means you're not doing something right. It's time to move out the way and let somebody else do it, because it should not take that long. It does not take that long.
Question for you, devil's advocate.
Yes, please.
Should we consider term limits or age limits? Brown on Cleveland.
Term limits. I don't want to get into the ageism thing. I don't want to do
Why
that.
Why not?
Because there's
no. Let me go back to what you stated.
Okay.
You stated this. You opened up these cans of worms. And just in case you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about term limits, and my special guest tonight is not Self and Little Kimmie, but Tara Mosley Weems of Akron, Ohio. She's a political consultant. She's been bit by the political bug. So she knows it's better than the best of the best of the best of this. But because you brought up the issue and you stated, correct me if I'm wrong, that we have some legislators who are 70, 80, 90, and then I added my 2 cents and said, damn, they're almost 100 years old. And I think this was one of the problems with, I'm getting a little messy right now, with old sleepy Joe Biden. People had issues with that. They had issues because of age, right? So would we be better off with term limits, or if we just capped it at a certain age? Brown on Cleveland, I'm asking.
So I get concerned when we start talking about there's an age restriction as it relates to the judiciary, except for the Supreme Court. Like our judges here in the state of Ohio, at 70, they have to retire. However, they can put in their retirement paperwork, but they still can come back as visiting judges.
That wasn't my question, though.
I know. I'm going there. I'm working with you.
Don't get scared.
I'm not.
The question. Judges, Brown on Cleveland.
Absolutely, except for the Supreme Court, They don't tap them. I worry about the lawsuits that'll come when it's almost like you're discriminating against someone because they're a certain age. Whereas if you say, I'm running for office and I'm here for 4 terms and now I got 4 consecutive. We've got to keep on there the consecutive. That means in a row. Most people don't know that. So if I'm running and I'm in the seat for 4 consecutive terms and now I have to move out the way, whether I'm 35 or 75, your term is up. I think that once you put the age in there, you're going to have that person. You're going to have people who are going to want to sue. It's just the American way. They sue their way out of everything. And I think once you start bringing it in, you're going to have people like the ACLU and all them saying that you discriminated against them because of their age. And now you got a whole nother issue.
However, when we're talking about making decisions for the betterment of the community, and we talk about new ideas and fresh ideas, and we talking about keeping up with technology, how is it that someone who's 80 years old can sue when in fact they are no longer connected with the times? Brown on Cleveland, I'm asking the questions.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying, but the lawsuits will be plentiful. I just know there will be lawsuits. I mean, that was one of the things that came up when we campaigned for Senator Sanders. People would bring up Senator Sanders' age. Senator Sanders is smart as a whip, moves quicker than most people in our age group, but still, he even said he's too old to run for president. But our president right now is the oldest president we've ever had, and he's falling asleep right now too.
Well, just like Sleepy Joe. So again, Would should people be more concerned about terms rather than age, or age rather than terms? Brown on Cleveland. I'm just trying to get some clarification.
I
That's
think
all
you
I'm
should
trying to do.
listen. I'm with you on that. You should poll that. I think you should do a poll and let's see what people say. What is more important, the term limits or the age? I mean, even if we were going to the age, I mean, we got people around both of these horseshoes in our respective areas that would be termed out if we were talking about age. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think it's more for me is those who get in these seats and get jaded by the power because they're there too long. And then there's this
I gotta sort of kind of disagree with you. I don't really believe they get jaded by the power. I think they get jaded by the political machine that's pushing them. This is what I believe. I believe that this is the reason why I'm independent, because I believe that political machines give people, these seat fillers, these elected officials, a false hope and a false promise that they can do whatever the crap they want to do as long as they stick to the premise of what the machine wants them to do. They become almost enslaved. And when you're enslaved, you no longer make your own decisions. So to me, it's like you come into the room as a free person, but then something happens within this room, and when you leave the room, you're no longer free. You're now enslaved. So you're not making decisions for the people. You're making decisions based upon what this political machine wants you to do. So again, my question will always be, should it be term or should it be age? Because maybe the political machine that most people adhere to, they would balk against term, because if you put term in there, then therefore they would no longer be able to have control over the people that they helped, or maybe not even help, get into seats, which simply means that their agenda will become null and void. Brown on Cleveland.
But isn't the machine the power? That machine is the power, and you're owned by the machine at that point. That machine is the power, and that again becomes problematic. Again, that's where we start talking about slates. A lot of these slates are coming because that machine again wields all that power,
Mhm.
And I think that when we talk about the age part of it, when you talk about the age being an issue, what would you think would be a cap of age if someone's sitting on council or sitting in the governor's seat, sitting in the
70.
prison, 70
70,
across the
yeah,
board?
70 across the board. I think that once you reach 70, you should be able to just retire and enjoy the fruits and enjoy your successes. So it simply means that if you get elected by the time you're 60, you know that you have 2 4-year terms because you're not going to have that half going on, which simply means that you got to get up and get gone and you still have a fair shake. But I do believe that 70 and above, personally, I just think it's too old. And I'm sticking to it. I don't care who
Yeah.
tries to beat me up. You can drag me, whatever case
Oh
may
no,
be.
no. I
But
mean, it's. I
no,
mean,
not you. I know,
no, I
you
know.
know,
Yeah,
I have a lot of listeners, right? We're almost
right.
at 100,000 people viewing the Little Hut podcast. I love the numbers. And I do know that people will have problems with that because some people will say that, she's borderline discriminated against people who get older. I'm getting older. And by the time I reach 7, God willing, making me able, I simply just want to enjoy my life. Brown on Cleveland. That's all I'm saying. And if I get to the point where, I get early Alzheimer or early dementia, I shouldn't, get to the point where I am in denial. I don't want to mess up anything. I want to be able to pass the baton and allow people who are younger than me to make great decisions for me. And the problem is, Tara, I believe, is that older people don't know how to get out of the way. So sometimes we have to push them out gracefully. And that's all I'm saying, Brown on Cleveland. Term, age,
Sir, I, I,
age,
I really
they
need
got to
you.
go.
Well, because you have so many listeners, a poll would be phenomenal to see. It really would, because I truly believe that ageism is a real issue in our country when it comes to certain things that people are discriminated against because of their age, period, across the board. So when we talk about term limits, it separates that.
Here,
It separates, it doesn't matter
Tara.
whether you're 30 running or 60 running. That
But
term
we're
limit is
but
going
here's
to
the
be
thing though. But
deciding
here's the
that.
thing though. But here's the thing though. We're talking about people who are elected officials. We're not talking about, you know, the average Joe who's still working or people who want to drive cars. We're talking about people who are making decisions for us. It's not
Yes.
like, I'm saying, across the board that when you're 70, you have to shut stuff down. Now, my mama would call in herself and I would get a tongue lashing for that, right? By her being 82 and she's still vibrant, she still does everything. And I'm glad that she's at that stage. But I'm saying, as far as being an elected official and making decisions where you are probably no longer connected to other generations, I take issue with that. I take pause. So if we had to choose, I would choose age over term, Brown on Cleveland. That's all I'm saying.
We are going to agree to disagree on this one, Kim. We
Okay.
usually agree. On this one, we're going to agree to disagree. Because some of that institutional knowledge is
Okay.
needed there. That institutional knowledge is needed. However, you can tell when someone is losing their vernacular. You can tell. Like when we were talking about some of these Congress people who are in their 80s. I mean, we've got some U.S. senators. I mean, Graysley is
We
90 years
do.
old. But when I hear him speak, even though he's a Republican from Iowa, he still has that. He still has that intact. It's still
Yeah,
intact with
but
him.
the point I'm making is this. I'm talking about connection. I'm talking about the ability to engage. This
Oh
is what
yeah,
I'm talking about.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, I think we all love Auntie Maxine, but real talk, I don't think Auntie Maxine is all that connected with younger people. I just don't. I don't. I'm sorry. Every time I see her, and they're doing like these little blurbs with her in the community, she's not amongst younger people. She's not. She's not even amongst middle-aged people. She's still with senior citizens. So I think she's disconnected, and she needs to be connected. And it goes back to your point: is this people need to, I'm saying need to, must mentor younger people and bring them along so therefore they can pass the baton. The problem that I see, and of course, this is just an assumption because I'm not there. I don't see people mentoring other people. This is what
Yeah.
I hear, even for people who are in their 60s heading towards 70s. They're not ready yet. I don't have time to mentor. And the reason being is because you're so selfish in your thought process. And
Yeah.
I'm watching your community. I don't care if it's 24,000, it could be 10 people, it could
Yeah.
be 3,000. I don't see people willing to reach back and pull up and connect with younger people. But the reality is this: these same young people who are being ignored will still be the young people who will be making decisions for people like me, you, and everybody else in this age bracket. And we gotta be smarter. So I will still stand on the concept of age before term, Brown on Cleveland. Although I like term, but if it boiled down to it, I gotta go with age, Brown on Cleveland.
Okay. All right. I think the biggest thing that I would like for us to unpack and maybe look at, so when we talk about this machine and that machine grabbing people that they're grooming, because now they're grooming people to put into that machine. Now we got another issue we got to deal with. That's a whole nother story, because we got that going on too. We
Well,
got a
we
lot
got
of
a whole
that
lot
going
of
on.
things going on. We got people trying to put their sons and daughters, on council where they are the mayor. We got them trying to change the name of a city to promote their own family dynasty. I mean, we have a lot of
Yeah.
crazy things going on.
Yeah.
We got people trying to put people in seats who are clearly not qualified. You have a lot of that. And then
Yeah.
collectively, we look around at everybody's community and we say to ourselves, or we ask ourselves, how come things are not getting done? How come things are not getting better? Partly because of that machine, but
Yeah.
then two is that people are so engulfed and ingrained in this thing called being enslaved. They no longer are concerned about the betterment of the community. They're
Right.
concerned about pleasing that political party,
Machine.
that
Yeah.
political machine,
Yeah.
Brown on Cleveland. So term
Yeah.
limits, I believe that if someone took the baton and they said, we're going to create this initiative, get this on the ballot, I believe that you would get most pushback from political parties rather than the everyday people. Brown on Cleveland, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I think the community, at least the community where I reside, they're primed and ready for it. It's come up before from other progressive
Mhm.
groups. I know Vicki Armstrong tried to push it some, oh my God, almost 20 years ago, and they, pushed her to the side. But I think we've had so much happen in our community now.
Mhm.
I think they're ready. I think that they
Okay.
are primed and ready for this. And then we're going to move on and we're going to have a conversation about what we're going to do about making sure independent voters have their rights, to vote for candidates in a primary, because I think that, and still that's where both political parties are going to push back, because they feel like that they would lose a lot of their power with that independent voters. There's more independent voters in the state of Ohio than Democrats and Republicans together.
That is totally correct. Totally
And
correct.
that's a conversation that has to be had, and that's something that needs to be done for sure.
Well, actually, I'm gonna give you some of that one. Actually, I am looking for your next editorial piece regarding independent voters like myself, because there are a lot of us out there, and we do get offended when we can't choose who we want to actually go to the general. And it's really just not fair. But this is how we live right now. But there's always going to be some strong trailblazers to get us over this hump. Brown on Cleveland. And we lost Tara Mosley Weems. I was going to call her Brown, but I'm Brown. But that's okay because we are going to wrap things up. And I don't know what's going on with her. Hey, she just popped back. Give me a second. I don't know why she keeps clicking off. Something about Akron, huh?
Yeah. We gotta work on our bandwidth down here or something.
You're fine. So we're gonna wrap this thing up, my lady. So go ahead and say your goodbyes. Leave us with some wisdom. So we can marinate on this. Brown on Cleveland. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, again, Kim, I appreciate you for having me. I really do. I thank you for all the work that you're doing, and keep pushing forward, because change only comes when you push. You got to push, and that's what you've been doing up there. And this is just the beginning step of something that is going to happen. Either they want to do a charter amendment, or we let the people decide. And I think the people need to be the ones to decide. And so I'll keep you posted.
Well, please do, because I like to get the news first. At least let me report it first, right?
Absolutely.
Anyway, my name is Kimberly Brown on Cleveland. Thank you for joining me inside the Little Hut podcast. Tara, is always a pleasure and a joy to speak with you. I just wish you would have been a keynote speaker for me this coming Saturday for the annual Women's Event of the Black Women Commission of Cuyahoga County and the Women Commission for Education and Training. But in the meantime, and in between time, next event, I'm definitely going to, have you come down to the city of Cleveland. And of course, just sit with us, talk with us, educate, fellowship with us. Just have a women's night out with all of us here in the city of Cleveland. And if you have something in Akron, feel free to invite us. And of course, we'll come down to see you. Once again, Tara Mosley Weems, you guys. Shake your pom-poms, shake your pom-poms, shake your pom-poms. And as I always say, each and every Friday, listen, Tara, this is what I tell people. If you talk about me in private, I damn sure will talk about you in public. If you tell a lie on me, I must tell the truth about you. And if you mind my business, I'm damn sure going to mind yours too. Brown. Yeah.
In the words of Kimberly Brown, I might have to use that.
Shake, shake, shake.
Sorry. Brown on Cleveland song. Number one song, Kimberly 2025. Say goodbye, Tara.
She supports the good, but if you're doing wrong, you better watch yourself. If you're cruel and full of spite, she'll shut you down. One wrong step and it's to the ground. She don't play nice with clowns. Brown on Cleveland. She'll lift you up or tear you down, depending on what you got going on. That darn Shake your pom poms.